I snuck out the back exit of Sunny Skies, the half-trails helping me avoid the spy haven that was the town square. For the most part, anyway. While the rear of the town hall had a similar door, I resisted the urge to try it. Blaze had been kind enough to tell me that the wanted poster was kept in the reception area. While I had no way of knowing which of the day staff was on the mayor's plot, I couldn't risk escalation just yet. I hoped to convince them that I was on their side just long enough to make off with the poster. If that didn't work, then I'd risk setting the whole town upon me by breaking in. Despite the wide-open steps and porch, the distance from the alley to the door was short enough that the loitering groups of gossipers hardly turned my way. Eager to be off the street, I pushed my way through the heavy wooden doors and into the lion's den. Through said lion's den was a rather lacking in blood, darkness, and half-eaten victims. Instead, unicorn light washed down from the lanterns above, reflecting off the immaculately clean walls and floor. Just a hint of odd wood touched my nostrils, refusing to be completely buried beneath the blanket of cleaner. I wrinkled my nose. The Aodu office was strong here. The room was long enough and rectangular, with the stairs and receptionist's desk near the back. As best I could tell, the only other doors were to the left and right, just before reception. At least one of them had to lead to the rear entrance, but there was no way for me to tell. Ideally, I would just have to guess. On my side of the hall there were several small, empty display cases, ringing a comparatively huge one. In the very center of the display was a replica of the town, though the houses were noticeably skewed towards unslantedness. There also seemed to be more of the dwellings, with a proper wooden wall around them. A grand road left the town, making its way across the plains, the hills, and becoming a massive quarry that bit into the mountains. Future plans, no doubt, and if the inn was any indication, ones that had been anticipated for a while. With my theory confirmed, I was left wondering why he hadn't tried to tap into those resources yet. Is he really so consumed by his vendetta that he needs to be rid of Ivory first? Or is it that he's afraid she would retaliate against his mining operation? The back of my mind reached forward and babbed me. Speculation, especially on information like this, was fine, but I had a mission upon which our entire case hinged. It was focus time. My eyes drifted to the right of the room, where a very large oval corkboard hung. And there, pinned on the wall, was the wanted poster, and my prize. All I had to do was persuade the receptionist. I peered over the large wooden desk at a wide, red-coated Pegasus. Something resembling familiarity stirred in the back of my mind. The faint smell of alcohol slipped into my brain, and drew the brawler's hat atop of his head. Oh shit. Cedar. I approached the desk, already certain this would be an uphill battle. I hoped that he had been too drunk to remember me, or, as I spotted the tip of the silver flask poking out from under, I was certain was a romance novel, that he would be too drunk now. Cedar busied himself with a small stack of papers and didn't even look up. The mayor's full this morning. If you wanted to see him, you should have made your appointment yesterday. Actually, I'm not here for that. Then what? He looked up. Oh, you. Crap. I tried to put on my friendliest face. Hi? Oh, I recognize you. Cedar, right? Oh, good. Remember ditching me too? He gave me a hard stare. I grimaced, though it was easy enough to shift it to embarrassment. Yeah, sorry about that. The cider kinda didn't agree with me. I had to drag myself back to my room from the outhouse. Cedar's expression softened, though it was gone as quickly as it came. Like I haven't heard that one before. My eyes flicked over to his flask. Since we're talking about alcohol, I'd be surprised if you didn't. He snorted. Right. What do you want, anyway? The situation was far from optimal, but at least it allowed me to turn on the charm. The wanted poster. I'm gathering some interested individuals, but I need an official document before they'll even come here. Cedar eyed me up and down. That one's for the office only. I can issue a copy that'll be just as official. Signed by the mayor? I broadened my smile. No. But mine'll be good enough. He gritted his teeth as his hoof crept towards the flask, but pulled away when he noticed where I was looking. They won't believe it unless it's signed by him, I pleaded. Too bad. Cedar pointedly returned to his papers. Asshole. Not that I could really blame him for holding a grudge, and I wasn't exactly at liberty to tell him the true stakes of the matter. The door creaked open, and we both turned towards the entrance. My heart seized. It was Blaze. Excuse me a second, I mumbled as I trotted away. Blaze shrunk a little, looking like a filly caught with her hoof in the cookie jar, as I closed in on her. I leaned in and whispered, What are you doing here? Were you even listening? She held her ground, looking me in the eye. I was, but I have to do something to make this right. She ricked herself 3 times, while we haven't done so much as moved a muscle. I have to do this. I frowned, finding myself reluctant to argue. Not only was Cedar uncomfortably close, but in my heart, I knew Blaze was right. The problem, as always, was where to draw the line between heart and brain. I sighed. Okay. Just get back outside, stay out of sight, and watch for trouble. Thank you. Blaze let herself slip out just above the whisper, though she might as well have been yelling for as much as it echoed. She leaned in and gave me a quick hug before she trotted away. I blinked. That she could still have such glee in the face of danger was a bit annoying. Returning to Cedar, I prepared one last try. Although chances of him changing his decision were pretty slim, I was already contemplating just grabbing the poster and running. It's for her, isn't it? He asked, his gaze firmly on the closed door. Eh? I wasn't entirely sure what that look was about, but I decided I should play along, slipping some shyness into my tone. How did you know? She's always in here staring at it. Sometimes she even brings her friends. But I've never really seen her treat any of them that way. Cedar's eyes flitted to his novel. Oh, he thinks we're like that. I let a smile creep to my lips. The field was suddenly level again. Does it really matter if you won't give it to me? 50 bits. Cedar stared at me, though his gaze wavered every so often. What? That's a lot. I wasn't sure if he was being an opportunist, or just didn't understand how rich an amount that was. It's as cheap as I can go. If I write up a bill for sale for it, he'll understand it was too much to resist. Fine. I dug out the bits, frowning when I saw that it only left me with a couple coins to my name. But there was no helping it. I'd just have to figure something out later. Smeater stacked the bits, expertly counting them as he went. When he was finished, he gave a nod. Grab it quick, before anybody else sees. I obliged, taking care not to damage the poster as I worked. I had barely finished up when I heard the door creak open again. I glanced up, hoping it wasn't Blaze drawing more unwanted attention, when that brown-flecked bandit Griffin strode through the door. I wished it really had just been Blaze. The bandit leader was flanked by more traditional gold and white griffins, a sandy Pegasus, and a pair of blue and orange earth ponies. Though I hadn't gotten a good look at them, I was reasonably certain I'd seen the Griffin and Pegasus bodyguards during the escape. In any event, I couldn't risk letting them see me. My eyes darted around, looking for a place to hide. All the displays were so close to the bandits that I'd almost surely be spotted. That was when I remembered the stairs to the back room. Without hesitation, I power walked over, doing my best to look calm and inconspicuous. With luck, I'd be too far to be identifiable. "You!" The lead griffin called out, and I cringed, but kept walking. "Reception guy. I'm seeing the mayor. Now." My heart rebounded back into my chest, and I let out a sigh of relief. I scurried to the top of the first set of stairs, where they turned into a mid-level before double-decking in a U-shape. I stepped just out of sight of the first floor, keeping an ear turned towards it. I started hastily rolling up the poster, cursing my forehooves with each little slip. Glancing up at the top of the stairs, I hoped the rest of the staff would at least have the courtesy to let me finish. But Glel. There was a beat where I was certain Cedar was cowering beneath some kind of brain-melting stare. Miss Glel, that is the mayor. He's busy. I said, now. Galel screeched. Right. I'll let him know. Let me help you, Galel said, her voice practically wavering off of him as the clack of talons on wood filled the air. Shoving the poster as far into my satchel as I could, a paltry 2/3 of the way, I scrambled up the stairs. I needed to get somewhere, anywhere, and hide just long enough to slip up behind them. But aside from a few tiny potted plants and the odd landscape painting, the immediate hallways were pretty much bare, and the railing's thin wooden beams would do little to conceal me. I could no longer hear what they were saying, but the growing volume as they ascended the staircase. Spinning around, I scanned behind the stairs. There were 2 doors, one with the etched nameplate that read, Prideful Policy, and the other without a label at all. With no choice but to gamble, I darted for the unmarked door and pushed my way inside, resisting the urge to slam it shut behind me. The room appeared to be a closet of some sort, though I couldn't be entirely sure in the darkness. I slipped into the back corner, careful not to disturb the silhouettes of bottles and boxes. Though they were small, they were numerous enough that they might still shield me from anyone who might peek in. Thought was busy. A stallion's voice touched my ears through the wall. A wall that must have bordered the mayor's office. Seeing an opportunity, I shoved my ear up against it. Sorry, insisted. Cedar was barely audible, even with me listening as closely as I was. Fine. Out. All of you. The other stallion, who was presumably Prideful Policy, said. The wall shuddered as the door slammed shut. Better not. Ing with me. Glel's impatient practically slipped through the gaps of the wall. Quite opening accusation. Prideful's tone remained level. You said she had no friends. Doesn't. Then why did my people see a Pegasus, who was sure as shit it wasn't a zombie, leaving our hideout with a zombie and our mark? You trying to have your people play heroes so you can blame us and cut us out of the deal? Galel screeched. I suspected this was no longer a private conversation. Now. No need. Blames the Necromancers. Still have 40 and contract. You said 49. And you could handle job easily. And you assured us she'd have no allies. Fine. 49. Provided. Right. Time. The door swung open, and light flooded over me. I swung round, ready to charge the bandits, but confusion stayed my hoof. Standing in the doorway, in a butler's necktie, was the other drunkard, Mocha. He mirrored my surprise, but spoke before I could plead for quiet. Hey, you're not allowed in here. Shit.